Today we're down at the American River Parkway, but we're going to talk about our adventure on the Barney Riley Trail. So when we were on the Barney Riley Trail, we hit a rock in a bush and the whole Jeep went flying up and slammed back down. So in the field we had to change the tire because we thought the tire might have been damaged, but it turned out the axle was actually broken. We were able to make it off the trail safely, and then we had to get towed home. So today what we're going to do is we're going to change the tire again. We're going to take the tire that we took off in the field and we're going to put the spare back where it belongs. So when we were on the Barney Riley Trail, we broke this axle. We've got a new axle on now from Califab. So the first thing I have to grab is the lug nut tool so we can get the lugs off. The next thing I'm going to grab is the lug nut wrench. We've got 35 BFGs on the Jeep. That's one lug nut off. Now I'm working on the second one. There's only 2 lug nuts on here, we should have 3. So while we're changing the tire, I'm gonna go ahead and block the opposite side tire from the one we're changing. So we're blocking the front right tire. One of the best things you can buy when you've lifted your Jeep is one of these AEV jack extenders. I'll put a link in the description below. Now we're gonna loosen the lug nuts on the wheel. So I've got the adapter for the lug nuts on the wheel. We're gonna use that, put on the lug nuts, and then loosen them. You just want to get them loose so that you don't have to do this when you've got it in the air. So I'm going to go in a star pattern just to loosen these up. Get them all loose. Alright, that should do the trick. So you can see that I have the AEV jack base here, and I've just got the standard scissor jack. So now I'm just going to wind the screw jack up to the axle. So now I've extended the screw jack up to the axle. So now we can start lifting the axle on the Jeep to get the tire off. So now I'm going to take the lug nuts off. I'm unscrewing the lug nuts in a star-shaped pattern. So if you're curious about this tire, all we did was we took a fairly inexpensive steel rim, but then we cut out rock rings on a CNC machine and welded them on. So for this next bit, I'm going to try and pull the tire off. Since it's pretty dirty, I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on and protect my hands. Now I'm going to take the spare tire off. Now we're going to roll the spare tire and put it back on. Now I lifted the tire, kind of use my feet, my hands, anything I can to get it right on here. Now I'm going to put the lug nuts back on and just hand tighten them down. So when we were out on the trail, we actually broke this axle. This is a new axle that we've actually put in. So now I want to just tighten and snug these lug nuts up just a little bit. Not too tight, just snug. So now we've got all 5 lug nuts snugged up, so it's time to lower the Jeep. So I'm just going to wind the jack down and put it back the way it was. Always be sure to read directions, and I didn't this time. It says this side towards the tire. I actually put it the wrong way, so make sure when you're using one of these, put the flat side towards the tire. I'm on concrete, so it's okay, but if you're in the dirt, definitely follow the manufacturer's directions. So now we're going to tighten the rest of these lug nuts and get them nice and tight. So I'm going to go in the star pattern again, start at the top. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the tire back on the spare carrier. Probably not a bad idea to use spare lug nuts right here, so in case you strip one off, you have a spare. Make sure you pick up everything. I think I have accidentally lost one of these orange bases when I've been out on the trail. You get stressed out, always take a deep breath, make sure you pick everything up and put it away safely. So now that we've got the Jeep safely back down on the ground, we can remove the wheel chocks. So I highly recommend getting a copy of this book by Bob Wohlers. You can find it on Amazon, and we'll put a link below. The park ranger actually just pulled up and watched us change the tire. And one of the questions he had was, why aren't you using the high lift jack to change your tire? Well, the answer is pretty easy. You can't really change a tire on a Jeep with a high lift jack very safely. It's actually easier to use the AEV jack base, a screw jack, or even a bottle jack to do that job. When you use the high lift jack, you're lifting the frame of the vehicle, not the axle. So your axle just stays on the ground. That doesn't work very well. This is our 2011 Jeep JK.